Hey guys, hey social media family. I'm Ramona Phillips, the Healthy Mind Strategist. Welcome to Get It Right. I help hurting people grow past trauma into authentic leadership, regardless of the area of expertise, because we've all been through trauma, some deeply distressing, disturbing experiences. A lot of us may be struggling with anxiety, depression, sadness, knowing that we're going through, we're getting on the other side of it, and we must remind ourselves that this too shall pass, because God is transitioning us. And usually when we're going through a shift or a transition, you're going to feel like a little shaken up, right? And then sometimes we're just seeing things and hearing things and witnessing things, and that's triggering anxiety or fear. For some people, it ends up into going into depression. That's why it's so important that we know what our triggers are, because everyone, I guarantee you, everyone has some form of triggers, even if they don't even know that they're triggered, right? Because because things are going on in life, and every experience that we go through in life is not always an exciting experience. We go through tests, trials, and tribulations and persecutions as well. So anyway, I'm going to talk about triggers today because, I believe God is showing me that so many people are struggling right now with depression and anxiety, and just the anxiety levels of so many people are just going up, up, up. I've gone through my own anxiety, but one of the main things we want to do when we're anxious is we want to bring our minds back to the moment. We want to stop spying on ourselves, especially like, for example, when you get anxious, you may hate that anxious feeling. And sometimes you don't realize it, but mentally you're focused on the anxiety. When in reality, and on top of that, when we're feeling anxious, we're not even in the present moment. So we want to focus our mind someplace else. But I'm going to talk about triggers a little bit so I can get up out of here, because I know you guys don't want to be on here long, right? So anxiety, let's talk about anxiety triggers. These are emotional triggers that are rooted in panic and stress. Okay. Trauma triggers. Trauma triggers are most often associated with post-traumatic stress disorder. For many people, they may consciously or unconsciously avoid situations that may trigger them. This is known as avoidance behavior, and it is a coping mechanism, but it's not a healthy mechanism. I mean, it's short term and it does not heal the problem. It's short term and it does not heal the problem. It's the same as running away, right? When in reality, what we need to do is what's the hard thing to do is to face it. But if we don't face it, right, or feel it and face it, then the bottom line is it gets worse, and then it can turn into depression, right? If we deny it, stuff it, if we shame ourselves because we feel like we're not okay. And by the way, it's okay not to be okay. We go through tests, trials, and tribulations and challenges in life, opportunities for us to grow. You heard that you heard that old saying, no pain, no gain. Well, that's not just related to working out, okay? So that also goes to experience. That's all connected to experience as well. As we go through life challenges, we get opportunities to grow, and many times it's something that that we just something that we go through, or something comes our way that we don't even expect, right? And it could even be a delay, right? Anyway, anger triggers. Sometimes individuals find themselves irrationally angry about a situation or an object. Irrationally angry about a situation or an object, right? Number one, identify your responses. Identifying a trigger is hard, can be hard, not unless you're constantly very aware, like myself, my God. But it's much easier to take stock of what you feel in the moment. Identifying a trigger is hard, or can be hard, but it's much easier to take stock of what you feel in the moment. So the key is to pay attention how we're feeling in that moment, right? When you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed by powerful emotions, take stock of what you are experiencing, because then something triggered that. Do you feel angry, sad, or jealous? What about physical signs? Is your heart pounding? Is your breathing changing, right? Are you breathing more quickly, right? So it's important that we pay attention to what our body is saying when triggers come up. Because not only that, we can take those triggers to the Lord. It could be fear, something triggered fear. It could, like I said, it could be something that you saw on TV. It could be something you heard in the news. It could be something you witnessed outside. It can be something that you're thinking about. Excuse me. Many times it's something that our mind drifts to, because many times our mind is either in the past, thinking about something that happened yesterday, thinking about something that happened years ago, months ago, or whatever, or our mind is in the future and we're fearing the unknown. So it's our responsibility to pay attention to how we're thinking. Am I in the now? Am I in the present moment? Am I thinking about something that happened long ago? Is that triggering what's making me anxious or angry, right? Or sad, right? Or so much going on in the world today. I know a lot of people feel are feeling some feelings of that's triggering some thoughts of uncertainty, in other words, right? And that's triggering, right, some emotional stress for people, right? So a car accident, right? So the bottom line is we must pay attention to how we feel, how we're thinking, so that we can know how to behave instead of getting into avoidance and unhealthy behaviors, right? So here's five ways to heal those emotional triggers, but we want to also make sure that we are praying. One of the first things I do is pray. If I lose my peace, I'm like, I got to pray. And I examine myself. I stop and think, what was I thinking about? What is triggering this anxiety? And if I'm not sure, then I definitely ask God, you know me better than I know myself. What's triggering this? Why have I lost my peace? And most of the time, I know. Okay? So one, be aware. I'm talking about awareness right now. Be aware. Pay attention. If you lose your peace, what just happened? What are you thinking about? What did you see? What did you hear? What did you smell? Right? Pay attention to that. And if you're a person that journals, write down how you feel, especially if you're angry and you just need to release that negative energy. Sometimes we need to cry. Allow yourself to cry. If you feel some tears coming up, you feel those emotions coming up, you're overwhelmed, you need to cry. I'm talking to the men, women, whomever. Crying is just an opportunity for us to release some negative energy, okay? It's not about, I'm not a man if I cry, and like the world has conditioned people, and a lot of people have fed into that. And then anyway, so the bottom line is it's awesome to cry because it helps us to release that emotional those negative feelings, right? So anyway, be aware, journal, write stuff down. I journal. I have so many journals. I'm like, what am I gonna do with all these journals? But anyway, journal. Write the feelings down. Write the feelings out. Write them out. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with God. Even if you feel like hitting something, write that down too, right? Identify your top 3 emotional triggers which cause you to be most upset and thrown off balance. So what's your top 3 emotional triggers? Is it the way somebody talks to you? Is it seeing a child being mistreated, right? What's your top 3 emotional triggers? Watching the news and hearing about something else terrible has happened to someone or whatever, and more shootings, right? So, and things like that. So identify your top 3 emotional triggers. Okay, so you can be aware of that, so you can go into taking care of yourself emotionally through prayer, right? Through prayer, asking God to help you. The joy of the Lord is my strength. The Lord is the strength of my life. You can even go in your Bible or Google scriptures on depression, and it's right there, and meditate on those scriptures. Also, focus on putting your mind elsewhere on something more positive. Watch something funny on TV, right? Have a cup of tea. Nurture yourself. Be good to yourself, right? Do something good and healthy. Exercise. Exercise is so good for stress and anxiety, right? Track the trigger's origin, like I said. So I already basically addressed that. Track the trigger's origin, right? All right, something going on at work, right? What's going on? Was your flight canceled, right? Some people struggle. I remember years ago when my flight was canceled, and it was canceled for like I think my son and I, it wasn't that long ago, maybe just before COVID. I'm gonna say in 2018 or something. My son and I were going to Las Vegas, and our flight got canceled. In between our flights, right? Our connecting flight got canceled, and we got stuck for about 5 hours. And the key is, and of course we were disappointed. Of course we were a little frustrated, and so the bottom line is, I knew that the bottom line is it's important to pay attention to how we feel when those things come up. We're going to be disappointed. We have our plan, and our plan is not working out, but we have to give our plan to God. And then I think I heard that something was wrong with the plane. Well, I'd rather be on the ground for five extra hours than in the sky with a plane. Something's going on. So I keep always bring those thoughts back to God. Okay, God, you know what I know. You see what I see. And I thank you for protecting me, right? And, this particular time we stayed in the airport, but there was another time it happened some years ago, and we were in Puerto Rico, and I'm like, psh, and we were both exhausted. So I went and booked a hotel room, and we went there, and we took a nap. We just relaxed there, in the hotel. So we always remember that we have choices. And one of the main things we always want to do is make sure that we are taking care of ourselves emotionally and spiritually. Also, walking around. We walked around the airport. We connected with a few people. Someone let me sit, I think, in a chair in their salon or something that was in the airport. I think it was like a nailery or something like that. So, God gave us favor. And before you know it, that time had went by. Anyway, reprogram negative beliefs. So that's similar to what I was just talking about. Remind yourself that you have choices, and don't get into and be aware of your thinking of, oh my God, why is this always happening to me? Using words like always and things like that. Oh my goodness. And we're saying all kinds of things and stuff we have absolutely no control over. Right? So we start, so that's the main things. Be very aware of what we're saying to ourselves about the situation, what triggered the negative energy. So be aware of our negative self-talk, and begin to switch that to positive self-talk. And also act as if. That's the same as affirming. That's the same as reminding yourself that all is well. Everything's going to work out for my good. Act as if. Don't sit around with your head down and all sad for the next, whatever, all day long or whatever the case may be. Remind yourself, okay, I have choices. So what can I do in this situation to make sure I'm taking care of myself and I don't get so angry and depressed and I start exploding, or I'm taking it out on other people. I'm just suppressing all of that negative energy, and I'm feeling even worse, right? And also work with a therapist or a coach. Sometimes we need help. I know a lot of us don't want to ask for help, but we were not meant to do life by ourselves. So book yourself a coaching appointment with me, and we can talk, right? We can have a conversation. So you can go to my profile, you can go to my website and book that. You can go to my website and you can book that, okay? Because I can't put no links in right here in the post. Anyway, I'll share the video. I'll talk to you guys later. Have an awesome day. Make sure you're taking care of your mental health, because your mental health is very valuable, okay? Thank you for joining me today on Get It Right. I'm Ramona Phillips, the Healthy Mind Strategist. We want to get our mindsets right, our hearts right. We want to ask God to heal our hearts, because not only that, if we're focused on something from the past, that's going to trigger a lot of negative energy too. And God wants our hearts to be healed. He does not want us to keep revisiting old memories that trigger negative energy, okay? So have a blessed day and take responsibility for your mental health. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye.